Welcome to Spark Stadium in Puyallup, Washington. The WIAA Network presents the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships. Alex Webster along with Tom Smith as this is the championship game in the 3A classification, and it will be two undefeated squaring off as the Wildcats of Mount Spokane take on the Chieftans of Columbia River. Glad you could join us. This has all the makings of a fantastic final, Tom. A couple of teams unblemished in their mark on the season, going to go head-to-head. Only one can come out as the champion and remain the undefeated this season.
Two undefeateds, and it will be Columbia River riding the wave of that shootout win over Liberty last night. Mount Spokane, a fairly solid 2-0, putting away of holy names and a number of key players to keep an eye on, both on the field starting out, but also coming off the bench. Should be an exciting day.
Mount Spokane will be considered the home team in this contest. They will be in the white tops with the navy bottoms. The Chieftans will be in all purple today, and it should be a heck of a contest with the Chieftans coming in 18-0-2, Mount Spokane 20-0, and we're just underway in this 3A Girls State Championship of Soccer. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all comes together as Mount Spokane, a 2-0 victor in a contest against Holy Names yesterday. The Chieftans coming in down to the wire, tooth and nail, needed to come back with a goal late, got it, went to overtime, was scoreless there, then went into penalty kicks against Liberty, one of the teams that was sought to have a real shot at getting into this championship game. And due to some heroics, they were able to come away with a 5-4 win in that shootout, going 7 rounds. And so they've probably got to have a little bit of adrenaline still coming from that big win yesterday.
18-0-2, the two ties, the only semi-blemishes in the Columbia River Chieftain side. They're very sparse in giving up the goals, and look for number 17, Maddie Reynolds, on the purple squad. She got that late equalizer and really led the team in quiet ways. But again, off the bench, a couple of missed or blocked penalty kick takes, and finally Mary Chop puts it away and wins it going away.
We'll start a look at the lineups a bit with the focus on the goalkeepers in this one. For Mount Spokane, it is going to be Shannon McReynolds, who's had 13 saves over the last 2 rounds of the state championships, including 6 last night against Holy Names. Meanwhile, Haley Case, a good senior, solid in goal for the Chieftans. 1 goal against and 1 save yesterday, but a critical save in that shootout that enabled it to go into extra kicks.
A very important save. It was the one she had to have to help the team put themselves in position. Both teams with a chance to put it away earlier. It didn't happen. 10 shutouts for Reynolds, for McReynolds to your right. Shannon, just outstanding goalkeeper, stands tall between the pipes, although she's 30 yards out now. And jumping up and down, Haley Case has her sister, twin Sarah Case, number 14, handling the middle of the defense along with number 10, Anna Delgadillo.
And right now, Mount Spokane working with it here in the early going in the offensive end, working from right to left. And a nice throw in here, and the Chieftans have not allowed much this year. Just 5 goals, 2 of them on place kicks. However, one of them coming last night in the first half of their semifinal. Long lead pass, and the goalkeeper might get caught. There's a battle here. Shot on goal, just wide. My goodness, the Chieftans looking for that early strike. Maddie Reynolds in the middle of things.
As if on cue, number 17, Maddie Reynolds gets in the end of it, wins the ball going away, but it was Kawawaki with that fantastic ball going forward. She had an assist taken away from her on what was ruled an own goal, the second put-away goal, if you will. Right there, Boyd in the middle, coming off the bench, in position maybe to claim that, but she had the game winner, and she'll be happy so far.
Maddie Reynolds teaming with Easton Kawawaki in that front line, along with Kira Callum, and the play continuing here as finally Mount Spokane able to end the threat momentarily. And now we'll get back another lead pass into the box area, running it down. Mount Spokane, they'll kick it out. Mount Spokane running a 3-5-2. They feel very comfortable with their defenders back there, and Dallas Flagger, Ashley Pedersen, and Kelsey Frank back there. So much so that they run that highly aggressive 3-5-2.
And the throw-ins we found in this tournament can be potentially dangerous.
And the Chieftains with one there as they try to operate. So it's kind of a look at the forwards for Columbia River with Callum Reynolds, the big star there, goal in the 69th minute from 15 yards out, the big equalizer they needed yesterday. 4 shots yesterday, 2 of those on goal, including that one to knot things up. Meanwhile, they're going to be trying to work against that Mount Spokane defense with Flagger, Pedersen, and Frank back there, and we'll just see what kind of an attack now Mount Spokane wants to put together. A little more traditional setup for Columbia River with a 4-3-3, but again, Columbia River loving to send that deep pass down there, that entry pass, if you will. Yesterday in their contest against Liberty, a lot of counterattacks that were setting things up fairly effectively for them. They just couldn't finish.
Mount Spokane started well in building their attack, but then found a way through and around Holy Name speed and skill as Kawawaki gets a touch to it. And what they ended up doing was taking advantage of that long ball. Both teams capable with that and also adapting to the game. Take an eye on number 3 in purple, the deep right back. She just locked down defensively in the win yesterday and also can clear down the line as we saw her get a toe to it early.
And Columbia River Chieftains ranked 4th in the state by the Seattle Times. Mount Spokane Wildcats ranked 2nd. The rest of the lineup for the Chieftains, we mentioned the goalkeeper as well as the forwards in the midfield. Junior Charlene Berger with 2 shots yesterday. She's an attacking midfielder, so you'll see her up in the box a bit. Emily Klyer, the junior, also there in the midfield, along with sophomore Emily Heaton, who had a shot yesterday on goal.
And you'd expect to find in a Final Four teams, you've got quality up and down the lineup.
And the defensive backfield for the Chieftains, they are led in the middle by Sarah Case, a senior that remembers the 2009 run for Columbia River when they last picked up a state championship. She was in the stands here along with Kira Callum watching that one take place. They'd love nothing better than to duplicate that. Also in the backfield on the left side, Taylor Halquist, a sophomore. Here's a nice feed in there. Junior Lindsay Hurley is on the right, and Anna Degadillo, a junior, in the middle as well.
Nice response here by Whitney Weaver, and you can see the aggressiveness and the initiative taken by the purple-clad Chieftains. And keep an eye on number 11. She took that free kick from deep, making the most of it. Charlene Berger, the junior midfielder, she stirs the drink a little bit in the middle of that field, as you'd expect her to do.
Just a little over 6 minutes gone in the first half of this 3A Girls State Championship. Alex Webster along with Tom Smith. Glad you could join us for the showdown of unbeatens. Mount Spokane trying to counter on their own here, and Kawawaki, or rather Hallquist, putting an end to that, but a foul call will give it back to the Wildcats.
Even though the ball was whistled dead, you can see how stout number 3 for the Chieftains is, Taylor Hallquist.
And the forwards for Mount Spokane are excellent. Riley Richardson heading to Grand Canyon next year, part of a 6-person senior class that has provided tremendous leadership for this undefeated Wildcat squad. She's joined in the front line by Katie Nilsson, a junior who took one, I want to say on the chin, but it was more off the brow. She needed 15 stitches over her eye last night, but she's good to go here today.
Well, it's fair and a good night's work, right?
Well, and the midfield is really where the Mount Spokane Wildcats get a lot done. It's where their leader is, Alyssa Lloyd. She has 10 goals, 11 assists this year. Will be headed to Idaho next season.
A couple of things, Al. As you can see, number 23, Kelsey Frank, making her way for the long throw. And on the near post, the midfielder taking up position, Alyssa Lloyd. She nodded back. A great assist for that first goal for Mount Spokane.
So keep an eye on number 14 in the midst of things. She is a catalyst, whether it's finishing or helping others. This one will be a goal kick back to the Chieftains.
And the heart of the defense right there, Sarah Case, at number 15, Emily Heaton, keeping an eye on Alyssa.
Yeah, and they're going to have their hands full because of this strong rotation for Mount Spokane. They love to run about 7 subs in during the course of this game, and we'll mention a bunch of names before this one is out, as they love to attack. But right now, on the counterattack, here it is. Kawawaki getting some help. Shot on goal. Nice save. Shannon McReynolds there for the stop.
Reynolds against McReynolds. How's that going to work out tonight as we have another shot for number 17, Maddie Reynolds. Set up again by Kawawaki.
Both teams love to attack. Chieftains with 75 goals this year, shut out just one time this season.
And although their defense is what they come in known for, the Chieftains can put it away as well. Sometimes building up the numbers against weaker teams, but also just always finding a way to get a goal in a game.
Chieftains working with it right now, trying to stymie this offensive attack for Mount Spokane. They've got their own nice pass there and a nice clear out for the Wildcats. But quickly back the other direction. Here come the Chieftans out on that left wing.
Superb touch by Kawawaki.
Going to need a mark there. Little touch in between. Shot potentially on its way. Cleared out for the moment. A lot of action on this end.
Reynolds, I think, may have been in an offside position, so it's just as well that it worked out the way it did. Look at the pressure kept on by River.
That's Ashley Pedersen with the clear out. Ooh, big connection as 14 meets 14 there in the middle of the field. Sarah Case and Alyssa Lloyd.
I think the goalkeeper's sister had a little discussion with the central defender's sister, Sarah, just going to ground and saying we're not going to give up balls we can win at midfield.
Here's River with the inbound. This is Reynolds. Nice throw in here. Challenged. Won momentarily by the purple-clad Chieftans. Out to the left wing. Looking for some help in the middle. The cross is not quite what they wanted.
Well, they're picking up their speed. They're forcing a little bit, which is just sometimes what you need to do to get it going. And they'll get the touch on the ball as they go, but they need against Mount Spokane to take the initiative. A team that comes in known for being physical, and if you get on the back heel on them, they're going to swamp you.
Nick Reynolds with the goal kick coming up. Early on, it was Mount Spokane attacking, and right now it's the Chieftans with that momentum on the offensive side. Nothing to show for it so far as we played just a little over 10 minutes in the opening 40 of this 3A Girls State Championship matchup.
And last night on both semifinals, the early initiative taken, the team that scored first was the one going the other way. Not necessarily in counters, but if you can absorb that early pressure for Mount Spokane, you're in great position to launch and score with the power that they have.
Only one goal allowed between these two teams in their two semifinals yesterday, as Mount Spokane has managed to shut out and outscore their competition the last two rounds 6-0.
I have to laugh as Ashley Peterson gets fouled there by Kira Kalem. I'm sure the girls just look at each other like, hey, that's just normal physical play. But they're both ready to dish it out as well as to absorb it.
Haley Case, the senior keeper for the Chieftans, coming up with that stop there. The officials in this one, Katie Fadden is the referee. Tim Logan is on the side as the alternate. Ed Eldridge and Scott Ray are the linesmen in this one.
Ed was in the center of that second semifinal. He'll be on the far side on the assistant referee's line.
Mount Spokane trying to work their offense here with that attacking style. Work it to the wing, but it's intercepted and knocked out of play.
Interesting to note, his daughter was in the center of the first semifinal, in which Columbia River, no doubt she's on hand for assignment later in the day.
It's a family affair here in all aspects of this. We've seen multiple sets of sisters competing out here and family members working on the officiating side of things as well. Columbia River trying to work their offensive attack again. Here's Callum up ahead trying to lead Easton Kawawaki. This one's going to be back into the corner and coming out of the box, way out of the box. That's McReynolds.
A good demonstration of McReynolds' vision. She made a quick decision and came out and put an angle on that ball. Sometimes that's tough to do. You don't always have the best look at it, but you've got to make a quick decision and live or die with the choice you make.
Mount Spokane, we talked about their 5 midfielders and how they like to rotate in about 5 others as well. Captained there by Alyssa Lloyd, the big senior.
The ideal lineup is one where it feels like it's 5 in the back, 5 in the middle, 5 in the front. Of course, the only way to get that is by hustling. With a 3-5-2, Spokane swarming defensively, but also throwing up Lloyd will have nearly an appearance of 3 on top. And with 3-5-2, that midfield expected to be crowded for the Chieftans. Really, so far, the River not having too much difficulty navigating in the open spaces.
3 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 2 forwards in the traditional set. Although talking with head coach Ryan Campanello, who's in his 8th season at Mount Spokane prior to the contest, said they'll change it up a little bit as well, too. But they love to attack, and they love to rotate fresh legs in occasionally throughout the contest.
Most of these players play club ball, and the level of sophistication in the game is your starting positions give you a sense of the system you're going to be working, but everyone's going to have to rotate. The ones that are less dynamic are the ones that eventually can be taken advantage of. So you've got to make sure that you're able to read the game and make the movements to be in the right place at the right time, defensively as well as on a counter or setting up for the attack.
Hallquist with the throw-in. Sarah Landers checking in a little while ago could not handle, and so Mount Spokane will have it. Joining Alyssa Lloyd in that midfield, Sydney Nelson, a senior, along with Danica Martin, who had an assist yesterday and a couple of shots. Sierra Bezdacek and Carly Frank are the juniors in the middle of all of that. Frank with a goal in the 6th minute against Kamiakin in the quarterfinals, so she can certainly come up and put it in the net as well.
Both these teams do have their leaders, point-wise as well as otherwise, but they can contribute by scoring or providing the assist from pretty much any position on the field.
Bezdacek was working over there with Whitney Weaver, who just checked in, a sophomore midfielder. The regular rotation of folks that they'll bring in Annie Schellerud and Brittany Sanders, Kelsey Drinkard, Whitney Weaver, Ashley Sanders, a whole host of underclassmen that will come in, everything from freshman on up through junior in that rotation in the midfield.
Man-to-man marking, you can see both teams picking them up and playing them tight. Pressure can also break down the skills and the vision that players want with space.
About 15 minutes gone in the opening 40 here. 0-0 in this 3A state championship showdown of undefeateds. The Wildcats of Mount Spokane and the Chieftains of Columbia River looking to see who can draw first blood and put the pressure on the opposition. Here's a challenge inside, a little bit off the end, and that will be a goal kick.
Well, it was a pretty good opportunity, but everybody is stretching just a bit to make something happen, and so that's a good sign. Things are tightening up, and you're going to have to see what breaks open here.
Sierra Bezdacek was trying to work that one for the Wildcats off the end. Here's a long lead pass up ahead, intercepted by Mount Spokane. As we've seen just the ebb and flow of this, Mount Spokane early, then the Chieftains threatening for a while, then Mount Spokane getting it down in range offensively, but it looks like the Chieftains will have an opportunity now.
Great day for soccer. It's gray. It's slightly chilly. There's some rain in the air. There was wind before, but now it seems to be quiet. The tracers on the flagpoles, just limply kind of flapping away. Nothing too big.
Yep, just a slight drizzle out there as we're under the lights in this afternoon showdown. Both these teams playing yesterday afternoon as well in the semifinals. So a little bit less than 24 hours rest in most cases. Here's the Chieftains trying to counter, which they worked well yesterday. Nice pass up ahead. Little 2-on-1, and finally the defense catching up. Race for the ball in the corner, and Mount Spokane will let it go out, and it will be a goal kick.
You referenced that the two players that play last night, the two teams I should say, and the late game, Mount Spokane the winner there, but any slight edge that might be available going to be offset by that 2 5-minute overtimes and the 7 rounds of penalty kicks. So both teams ready to go.
And this is where you leave it all out on the field, everything you've got. Last game of the year, you're either the champion or the runner-up, and this is what you've been working all season and off-season for. We talked about Katie Nilsson, the talented frontliner for the Wildcats who had those stitches. That was not the only person who got scuffed up a bit in that 2-0 win over Holy Names last night, as Madison Boyd, kind of their 12th man, if you will, that typically comes off the bench, talented senior who scored a goal and also had a lot to do with the second goal last night, tweaked the ankle, and so they're hoping that she can go today. But that would be a huge loss for them if she's not able to play at the level that she would like to.
You always want to be at your peak, but the reality is every player is carrying some kind of niggly-naggly knock or two. Just hope it's nothing that would hold them back from showing what they can do and making the contribution that they'd like to make.
Chieftains with the throw-in. Loose out in front, and Kawawaki was met by a couple of white shirts there despite getting a leg on it. It'll be a goal kick. And Boyd not only with a goal last night, but a goal in the quarterfinals against Kamiakin.
Kelsey Frank showing why she's valued as a tough defender back there.
A little bit of a respite here as they sub in. as Emily Clyer will set out, as Katie Crabb will come in for the Chieftains. Helping out in that back line a bit. Here's Mount Spokane threatening ever so slightly. Now getting it back on that right wing. Nice pass into the offensive zone, but it's got a little too much mustard on it.
Well, just some early indications that the center referee, Katie Fadden's going to let them play. And if there is an advantage to be gained from that, it might be Mount Spokane. But both teams just throwing their bodies at it. Like you say, there is no tomorrow. This is for all the goods, and let's just go get them.
Mount Spokane losing in the Elite Eight, if you will, last year to Eastside Catholic. So the team from Mount Spokane not unconditioned to the idea of travel cross-state to play in the postseason.
Both teams with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, given the most recent results. Who do you think has the edge with that, Alex?
Yeah, well, you never know. And right now, I think they're blinders on to the jerseys in front of them after the Chieftains knocked out by Liberty in the first round last year. So a little earlier than expected exits for these two teams in 2011, but they're battling for the title here in 2012.
Well, they certainly have played yesterday, for example, as if that battle-tested experience is really playing to their favor. And just remarkable performances. It's hard to say they deserve to win because both or all four teams, their opponents played so well as well. But these are two outstanding teams on show today.
And both of them looking to see who can get on the board first and put that pressure on as we've reached the midway mark of our first 40 here in the first half. Another long pass up ahead. And those purple-clad Chieftains trying to find some gap in that Wildcat defense. They put a lot of pressure with just three defenders back there for the Wildcats.
3 defenders and 5 hustling midfielders, and they'll have an example of using their bench. Ryan Campanella says, no problem, we got a deep bench, we're going to get them out there.
Taylor Hallquist with the throw-in, and it's picked off by the Wildcats, but Hallquist will get it right back and then loses the handle. As here comes Mount Spokane, but not much going there as we volley it in the middle of the pitch here.
Yeah, a sub coming on the field, a little bit of miscommunication. Hallquist wanted to leave it for Katie Crabb, and it was one of those Toreador moves.
Working that far sideline. Mount Spokane with it briefly. Chieftains looking to get that pass in, but it's picked off one more time by Mount Spokane. Hard physical play there as one of the players goes to the turf. Kelsey Frank, but she pops right back up. And the action here vibrant in the middle of the field as they try to figure out how to get it past the defenders of either side. Quality back rows here at work. Oh, there's a collision and a foul whistled. It'll be in favor of the Chieftains.
There's some physical activity that fits the scene. Sydney Nelson getting a foul in there in the sandwich with her teammate. Number 8, Danica Martin in the center circle. That header up to Lloyd. She played a quiet but efficient role last night and was credited with an assist as well.
Charlene Berger will take this free kick opportunity. About 28 yards out, right on the mark, or a little bit to the left, but right on it was Shannon McReynolds for the save.
It's a long distance. You're going to come up to something special if you want to beat Shannon McReynolds.
Got about a little more than 17 minutes to go in this opening fray. Kamayakin, Kawawaki, touch pass across. Looking for Landers. Couldn't get it.
Nice clearance by Carly Frank, finding Alyssa Lloyd there in the midfield.
Mount Spokane on that far sideline. Unmarked. Finally, the defense picks it up, and there's the pass, little too strong once again off that end line as they were looking up front for Katie Nilsson playing with those 15 stitches.
So we've seen that a couple of times from Mount Spokane. How can they adjust just that last pass running away from the final wing on the right to try to put a ball in? About the midpoint or a little bit past here of the first half for Columbia River, they've done a pretty good job of tic-tac moving the ball down the field and had a couple of good looks on goal, but nothing really to challenge McReynolds. So pretty much a draw so far, fashioned on the scoreboard, but also on the field so far.
Peterson sweeping that one away, and we've got a host of subs here for the Chieftains.
Well, Philomene.
Marion Lilly checking in.
Coach Antenagus is, again, just like Mount Spokane, has been putting his substitutes on a choice-by-choice basis. Now he's wanting to make sure everybody has a chance to get in the game, get a flow of it, just getting that taste, a few minutes of action, and you're on the bench watching with a completely different view of the action.
Sophomore midfielder Julia Drury also checking in. Phil Finnegas, in his first year at the helm of the Chieftains, has them in the championship games. Hard to come up with much of an encore for that sophomore season at the helm of the program next year.
Yeah, that's true. Katie Nielsen, number 20, with the ball right now, looks fairly healthy. She suffered a crash, as you alluded to earlier, and she seems like she's doing quite well out there.
Yep, so far it's not impacting her. We're yet to see, I believe, Madison Boyd for Mount Spokane, their talented sophomore frontliner. He comes off the bench with that tweaked ankle yesterday, and right now, no score on the board. They might be holding her back and trying to conserve what she might have in that ankle for perhaps a critical moment in this game. As the weather in the 40s and wet and windy at times. Traditional Northwest weather for this time of year. There's a challenge in the middle. Mount Spokane volleying it back. This one in pursuit. Corralled by the Wildcats. Sierra Bezdacek. Now up. This one in good play for the Chieftains. Shot on goal. It's in. What a play from the left side on that lost ball by Mount Spokane. And Marion Lilly finishing from the left side strong for the score and the 1-0 lead.
Well, the 26th, 27th minute's a charm here, wouldn't you know it? We've been talking about all the great contributions by those starters and what have you. Marion Lilly, another good performer we hadn't gotten to yet, and she found a way to put herself on the sheet pretty much on her own. She got a nice ball on the far edge of the box, made her way in, and left-footed it past McReynolds' far post. That's a pretty healthy job by Lilly, and she can feel good about that finish.
Lilly just a sophomore. Now the pressure on the undefeated Wildcats of Mount Spokane. Their head coach calling them fighters and resilient, and they'll need to be now trailing by a goal here in this first half. And they certainly are capable with Alyssa Lloyd and company, Riley Richardson, but they've left a few passes long so far in the early going. And in this case, it looked like a little breakdown on defense that enabled that ball to get deep into Mount Spokane territory and allowing Lilly, who made a contested shot there, to finish, but gave her the opportunity to have that shot.
Well, we'll see how they actually score this. It would appear to me that'd be an unassisted goal. There's just ball knocked around the midfield. A nice job to get it in the box, but Lilly had to make it the move herself. Two defenders coming in. You can say it broke down, but I think she just did a great job with a left-footed shot, surprising both defenders and the keeper.
River looking to get a couple of subs in at the next opportunity on that far side. As head coach Phil Finnegas in his rookie campaign at the helm of the Chieftains, looking at a 1-0 lead.
By the way, Alex, a great thing for our viewers at home. You can not only be watching this live, but you can come back to the WIAA network and dial it up on demand. Once we load that up there, you can review all your favorite plays and make your little analysis yourself of the referees and the choices made.
Takedown. And that'll be in favor of the Chieftains. They'll get a free kick right here on the near sideline, but kind of a similar to a corner kick, but a different angle here.
And credit, again, number 16, Lilly, with forcing the action there and drawing that free kick.
Charlene Berger will take this one once everyone is in position.
We're getting word that Julia Drury may be credited for the assist on that goal.
Here's the kick. Set nicely. Kawawaki was in the midst of that, but the header off the mark. That one seemed to hang up there in the air for quite a while. Not a line drive, more of a can of corn perhaps to bring in the baseball.
Yeah, you hang it up there, it makes it easier for the keeper to get the good sights on it, line it up, and come in and snatch it like an apple off a tree. In this case, McReynolds is seeing it cleanly out of play.
McReynolds allowing the first goal in 3 games now.
For the Wildcats, lots of time on the clock, plenty of soccer to be played, no panic in them, and I would expect them just to keep plugging away with their game plan, and of course in 12 minutes or so have a chance to go in the locker room, make any adjustments the coaching staff may see.
You know, one of the unique things about teams that come in undefeated, there was an elbow in there, foul whistled against Mount Spokane, and this is an aggressive team. This is an athletic team, a resilient team, in the words of the head coach Ryan Campanella. And so you can see play like that. They're not backing down despite being down 1-0. But a real challenge for Mount Spokane perhaps, as these two teams undefeated. How often have they played from behind this season, you wonder?
You always wonder about that when teams come in with such great records. Number 4, Riley Richardson, getting her body in there, called for the foul. We'll expect her to do things to try to mix things up and get her team going.
Yep, Richardson was in the midst there before that shot towards the goal. But McReynolds stands strong once again. The long outlet here, and the Chieftans have played with a little more aggression here in the last few minutes, certainly with that goal, but we've spent a great deal of time here in the Wildcats' end. Another substitution.
So often you get that lead and you just forgot what gave you that. And again, the pressure and the initiative taken by the Chieftans, and Lindsay Hurley coming off the bench, number 2, making a solid clearance, and that's the way for the Chieftans. Just keep playing your game and keep being aggressive.
Maddie Reynolds checking back in, their junior leader in the front line. But it's Mount Spokane with possession here. Nearly a handball on that far side. Working with it in that front line, that's Nilsson. It's booted out of play by River.
And you can see Hurley, just like Halquist, who had a chance to go out yesterday and then figure out what the opposition was up to before coming in and sorting that out. Liberty had so many weapons on hand, but she did a good job shutting down the threat down the sideline, Kaylee Youngdahl.
Little under 9.5 to play in this first half of action.
And Lindsay Hurley coming back in with particular attention being paid to Katie Nielsen, the number 20 forward, playing a lot on that far right side on attack for Mount Spokane.
Foul on Mount Spokane there. So here comes River in the offensive set again. This is Hallquist working with it right side. Given some room to roam and then challenged. Had it taken away and back the other way we go.
Good teamwork by the Wildcats.
Check that. That was Boyd. Now they're working the left side. This is Nilsson into the teeth of the Chieftains' defense, and it's swept out, but the first sign of life in a while on a nice offensive surge on the left wing by Mount Spokane.
You credited Madison Boyd, of course, the goal scorer last night, and her initiative, her aggressiveness also contributed to the second goal. Here she is tracking all the way back out to help out Frank on the defense, and she picks up the ball that was defended well by her teammate and gets the attack launched for the Wildcats.
Boyd out there in the orange shoes out in the middle of the box on that throw-in. She's still deep in there. Here's a shot on goal. Too tall. Off the goal post, so no field goal.
What more could you want from a soccer player? A nose for the ball and a nose for the goal. She's going to be around the action when she comes off the bench every time.
2 goals in the last 2 games. They're going to need her efforts in that front line, along with Riley Richardson and Katie Nilsson and Alyssa Lloyd in that midfield attacking. But right now we haven't heard too much from Alyssa Lloyd, as it's been the Chieftans of Columbia River who, you know what, if they hold on to this one, talk about a storybook playoff. You knock off the defending champion Seattle Prep in the opening round 2-1. You knock off the number 1 team in the state that's undefeated in Meadowdale in the quarterfinals. You avenge a loss to the team that took you out last year in the opening round in dramatic fashion in a shootout. And then you come to the championship game. Oh, you got to face another undefeated team that runs an aggressive attacking style. If they can complete that gauntlet, no question, state champs.
and no question they've earned it. But there is a long way to go, so I'm sure both coaches would tell you, don't be counting and notching them up. I know you're not, Alex, but just helping the folks at home see. That will be a tremendous story. And what a way to come back after all those frustrating years of working towards this platform where they're playing tonight.
Out of the Greater St. Helens League, they've made this tremendous run from Southwest Washington to be here in the state championship game. They've got the 1-0 advantage with under 7 to go in the first half.
Lloyd doing the dirty work, winning the ball back for the Wildcats in the middle of the field.
On the right wing, the attacking midfielders now working ahead. Nilsson challenged and was able to win that battle on the sideline. It'll be a throw-in for the Wildcats.
The sophomore midfielder, number 5 jersey in white for the Wildcats, Annie Schellerud, showing up well coming off the bench. He did a great job coming off the bench last night as well and moving around the field in the right position, stirring things up and playing a role in the attack as well.
Now Spokane looking to equalize, and that one was forcefully booted out of bounds by the sweepers. Since
the Wildcats are picking up some momentum here, the Chieftans, don't mistake being overly anxious for taking the aggressive momentum of the Chieftans. They have to be sure they're not doing things too quickly. Be patient and wait for the thing. Don't wait, but do the right thing at the right time. Timing is so essential in soccer, whether it's trapping a ball, getting an assist, clearing it, communication in your defensive back line, and all of a sudden Columbia River just a little bit out of sorts.
Madison Boyd earning that corner kick with the aggressive play on that far end line, and look for her far post. Nilsson on the near post. Kick is in. Shot on goal, it's in, score! Mount Spokane, guess who? Alyssa Lloyd. th goal on the season for the senior headed to the University of Idaho next year. And more importantly, she's concerned with the present. It knots this one up at 1 apiece with 5:27 to go in the first half.
What a tremendous corner kick. You talked about Boyd being one of the targets at the far, and I think they're actually trying to get there. But there's so many other weapons for the Wildcats. Right next to the goal scorer Lloyd was Danica Martin, who we know is lethal as well. But what a great performance by Lloyd, taking that opportunity, seizing it, and bearing it the back of the net.
Easton Kawawaki checking in prior to the kickoff for the Chieftans as they look to get back on the offensive mode of things here, as they find themselves now knotted up at 1 goal apiece. Tremendous play so far in this half, and you wouldn't expect much else as these two teams do battle. That just the 6th goal scored against the Chieftans this season.
Well, so many great storylines, and we talked about the one that might have been forming for the Chieftans. They're going to put that one on hold for now as the Wildcats claw back into this and drawing 1-1. It's, again, anybody's game with a long way to go, 45 minutes, and who knows, maybe more, depending on where we stand at the end of 80.
Charlene Berger checking in. Here's the throw-in coming from Katie Crabb. Headed around by Mount Spokane, and I'm trying to figure out the last time that Columbia River may have allowed multiple goals in a game, and I don't think it's happened often. Ooh. Shot on goal there, nicely defended by Mount Spokane. Karam, shot, goal! McReynolds outstretched, could not get it, and the Chieftans answer right back. Less than 2 minutes separate these goals. What a play by Columbia River. Not sure if it was Kawawaki or Emily Heaton. It was Heaton in the mix, a sophomore midfielder, unknotting the tie. She had 1 shot on goal yesterday, and the sophomore gets one in the net past the outstretched keeper, Shannon McReynolds, who could not contain it.
35th minute, Lloyd gets the equalizer. 1 minute and change later, Heaton with a heater into the back of the net. It was deflected, defenders trying to get to it. Nothing McReynolds could do. That is a classic goal that you dream of no matter what position you're assigned to play on the field. A great go-ahead goal by the Chieftains midfielder.
Wow. Could we have a high-scoring affair in this one? And right now, Mount Spokane tasked with something that no one's really been able to do this year, and that's score multiple goals on this talented Columbia River squad. Right now it's the Chieftains back in the offensive end, and Mount Spokane trying to clear it out. Little foul whistled here. Is taking a tumble is Emily Klyer. And the free kick coming up. Charlene Berger looks like she will take it. And Columbia River now playing with some incentive here. Under 3 minutes to go first half. Another goal, and my goodness, what a lead it would be.
Berger looking back, not to the bench, but to the fans who have gotten really involved in this exciting game.
McReynolds back there in goal, awaiting the free kick coming up from Berger. A little mini wall set up. Boyd right in the middle of that wall. They shoot this one towards the center. Into the box it goes. Looking to clean things up. Still loose out there. And finally, the Wildcats clear it back to midfield, but it's the purple jerseys able to pick it up. That's Lindsay Hurley.
You see the action in there. There was 6 purple bodies, a bunch of white bodies, and the free kick now to the Chieftains. They call it a mixer for a reason. There's a lots of pushing and shoving and pulling going on there, and most of the time the referees aren't going to call anything unless it's really obvious and really takes away from the play.
Berger again lining up the free kick here after that foul.
And again, 6 lined up on the 18.
Keep your eye on Kawawaki, as well as number 17, Maddie Reynolds. This one dropped into the box, defended initially, high into the air. That's Reynolds trying to get a boot on it. And looks like she would have been offsides anyway.
And they called her offside. She made the right play, but again, somebody else, Emily Klyer, coming off the bench, getting that ball right in the position. Just a yard or so offside, it would appear.
Columbia River trying to pile on to this 2-1 advantage with under 90 seconds to play in our first 40.
I'll have to check those halftime stats. Word is they're not giving an assist on that great corner kick. Might have been slightly deflected dropping into Lloyd, who still enough energy on that ball for her to direct it so firmly into the goal.
Mount Spokane trying to see if they can get an equalizer here before the intermission.
And I would say for Emily Heaton, her laser would be unassisted as well. She basically gobbled up an ill-fated attempt to clear and just buried it in the corner.
Kawawaki moving it in front. Maddie Reynolds trying to track it down for the Chieftain. Mount Spokane getting it back with 45 seconds to go first half. This one whistled, a foul against River.
So a little bit of turnabout is fair play, or not fair play in this case.
Well, and only 33 seconds left for Mount Spokane to try and mount an offensive attack. That's Boyd with the header there. Picked up by Berger in the middle of things. Mount Spokane in those white jerseys. 22 seconds remaining. River trying to counter. Scrum for it in midfield. This one, Schellerud chipping it up front. Out of play with 10 seconds to go. Not sure if we'll be able to get the throw in time.
It's been a heck of a half, Alex. The second half should be exciting.
Wow, if it's anything half as good as what we've seen thus far, that is it for the first 40 minutes. Columbia River getting on the board first. Mount Spokane equalizing, but then the Chieftains coming right back to take the lead. What a first half we've had. That is our score, 2-1 here at the half. We'll be back for second half action. This is the WIAA Network.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 1952.
The future of our state is very important to Washington dairy farmers.
And it starts with our youth. The Dairy Farmers of Washington have been partnering with the WIAA for years. Sports are very important in building good work ethic.
They help students by teaching them discipline, teamwork, dedication, and preparing them for the challenges that they're going to have later in life.
The Dairy Farmers of Washington encourage you to support local youth by attending WIAA championship events.
The future of our state is very important to Washington dairy farmers.
And it starts with our youth. The dairy farmers of Washington have been partnering with the WIAA for years. Sports are very important in building good work ethic.
They help students by teaching them discipline, teamwork, dedication, and preparing them for the challenges that they're going to have later in life.
The dairy farmers of Washington encourage you to support local youth by attending WIAA championship events.
Welcome back to Sparks Stadium. We're at the intermission of the 3A Girls State Soccer Championships. Columbia River leading 2-1 over Mount Spokane. We're now joined by Abby Lohman, Dairy Ambassador for the Dairy Farmers of Washington out of Bow, Washington. Thanks for joining us here at the intermission. Tell us a little bit about how you get to the title of Dairy Ambassador.
I've been involved with the dairy industry because I show dairy cattle. I was in 4-H and an FFA, and I live on a farm but not a dairy farm, and we produce seed crops, which is very close to the dairy industry.
Wow. And for these athletes out here, the calcium, big part of the growing body, as well as the products produced by the Dairy Farmers of Washington. I know for my own kids, chocolate milk, one of their favorites.
Definitely. Chocolate milk has been recognized as one of the best recovery drinks for athletes. As you know, it can be very devastating for an athlete to be injured in the middle of their sports season. And being super active lifestyles, as many of high school athletes are, they don't have time to count their calories, so they need to make sure their calories count. So by drinking chocolate milk after their game, not only are they being rehydrated, but they're getting healthy calcium, healthy carbohydrates, and lots of protein.
Also, a lot of the great dairy products that they throw into their school lunches as well, too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks a bunch. Abby Lohman, Dairy Ambassador for the Dairy Farmers of Washington, joining us here at the intermission. We'll be back with the second half after this break.
The future of our state is very important to Washington dairy farmers.
And it starts with our youth. The dairy farmers of Washington have been partnering with the WIAA for years. Sports are very important in building good work ethic.
They help students by teaching them discipline, teamwork, dedication, and preparing them for the challenges that they're going to have later in life.
The dairy farmers of Washington encourage you to support local youth by attending WIAA championship events.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 1952.
Welcome back to Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Washington, the WIAA Network presentation of the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships, the final. And right now, as we head into the final 40 minutes of this one, Columbia River nursing a 2-1 lead over the Wildcats of Mount Spokane. Alex Webster along with Tom Smeeth, and what a fantastic half that was.
Outstanding half. Chieftains starting off strong in that first half, and Mount Spokane doing a good job to battle back and then going down a goal, and the Wildcats again doing well to equalize, but they're going to regret somehow letting the Chieftains come back. The Chieftains will claim, of course, that they notched that go-ahead just 2 minutes after the equalizer by Alyssa Lloyd.
Just 2 minutes. The scoring got started with Marion Lilly on an assist from Julia Drury in the 26th minute, getting River on the board. About 9 minutes later, Alyssa Lloyd off of a corner kick deflection, getting the equalizer. And as you said, Tom, 2 minutes, 1 second later, River back out in front, and they'll look to try and add to it here as we're just underway in the final 40 of regulation in this 3A Girls State Championship. Someone will leave today with their first loss of the season. The other one will be crowned state champion. And the early advantage for the Chieftains of Columbia River out of the Greater St. Helens League. Ranked 4th in the state, wearing the purple here. Mount Spokane, the Wildcats, undefeated at 20-0 out of the GSL. They're ranked 10th, or rather, 2nd in the top 10 by the Seattle Times, coming in to the last week or so of action in this state championship tournament. And it'll be interesting to see how Mount Spokane looks to counter and try to find that second goal to get this one knotted up. But right now it's the Chieftains who had a good deal of the possession in the first half, working that same script here in the second. Here on the near side, little chip towards the goal. McReynolds is there for the shot. 13 saves, 6 last night, 7 in the quarterfinal against Kamayakin. She had 4 so far in the first half as she was under a bit of a constant barrage. Haley Case, the keeper for Columbia River, not nearly in the line of fire that first half. There's a nice lead. Big boot for Mount Spokane, but there is Case coming away from the goal to make that stop. Haley Case. A goal against last night. 1 save yesterday. Big play in the shootout.
First goal scored by number 16, Megan Lilly, coming off the bench for the Chieftains. The equalizer by number 14, Alyssa Lloyd, and then filling the gap, number 15, Emily Heaton, one of the starters, the midfielder, just ripping one. And so a sense that if you got a 14, 15, and 16 score, it's either going to be a 17 or a 13 or maybe another number.
Tom's playing Keno, trying to come up with the numbers. And in fact, it was that first goal was completely set up by fill-in substitutes, if you will, as Drury comes off the bench, also assisting on that goal by Lilly.
And really, she deserves the credit. The ball into the box gave an excellent opportunity for Lilly to get on the ball, looking up and seeing those two defenders coming to her. She did a good job assessing the angles and making the move that surprised McReynolds, and pretty much a surprise for us that McReynolds was beaten far post. You always want to protect that near post, but you seem like, wow, what a shot. And then, of course, Heaton coming back to go ahead. That's a dream goal for any player.
And our research department finding out that the Chieftains have not allowed a multi-goal game this season. So it's going to take something unique and something that has not happened this year to get the Wildcats into the overtime period or perhaps the victory.
While the Chieftains have the ball now, Mount Spokane, the Wildcats, are the kind of team capable of doing that. They play with resilience, determination, and they're not going to back down on any matchups tonight. They're going to be throwing everything they can. Of course, they have to absorb the attacks of the Chieftains, who are very alert and able to pounce on any opportunity, whether it's a quick counter or just to absorb the ball and take a look downfield. And a bit of a touch leading down Maddie Reynolds. She led her team with 2 shots on goal. Charlene Berger, who also got a shot earlier near post here this half. Those are the 2 leaders you expect. Berger all over the field. Reynolds will wait on top and try to get those good feeds.
Rest of the numbers from that first half, Tom?
Well, if you look at the shots on goal, it was 7 for Columbia River, 2 for Mount Spokane. You talked about the saves. McReynolds with 4 of them. Would love to come up with 1 at least more now, but you have to look forward, forget about the past. In the fouls department, fairly equal. 7 for Mount Spokane, 4 to Columbia River. Just an edge going to Spokane and maybe their physical way of playing. In corner kick, Spokane with 1 offside called against River. So pretty equal as we thought it would be. And, of course, dynamic as well, so expect more action.
Well, it has been exciting, to say the least, with, I think, as many goals scored in this game as we've seen throughout the tournament thus far. So offense on display in that first 40. We're in about 5 minutes gone in our second 40. And here comes the Chieftains attack once again, but Mount Spokane with a big boot the other way.
That 4-3-3, the left back, Lindsay Hurley, trying to work an overlap in kind of an awkward position, but the Wildcats do not take advantage as she gets back in time.
Mount Spokane trying to mount that attack here to try and get even on the board, and there's a trip or not. No call.
Nice
the ball retained.
Tackle.
Again, Mount Spokane trying to find their way through a lot of purple jerseys in that back line as they packed it in, but they'll have a shot here coming up.
And look at that pressure by number 4, Riley Richards. She's going to try and stir it up, and Hurley getting the ball out. That's a smart move by Hurley.
Constant drizzle here in this second half thus far. Maybe the conditions here under the lights that both teams will be battling with the remainder of the way.
Julia Drury make a strong play, too, with Alyssa Lloyd on her shoulder. That was under pressure, to say the least.
Sydney Nelson battling over on that far side, along with Annie Schellerud, that sophomore midfielder, who will creep up and attack as well.
You talk about the drizzle, and that may actually be what you want to have the Wildcats do. Just keep pecking away like the rain falls and strengthen your attacks every time. The more you put pressure on the Chieftains, you're going to find that they're making mistakes and leaving some openings for you. And at the same time, while you're pressuring them, it's harder for them to get on the front foot and launch their attacks. And so far in the last few minutes, it looks like the Wildcats have done that. They just pressurize down here. They haven't got a good look on goal, but they're pressurizing and trying to get that. And even if you just throw a couple in a couple times and make Haley Case make some plays, you get some doubt eking into the minds of the defense for the Chieftains.
Carly Frank checking out of the midfield as she's replaced by sophomore Whitney Weaver. Just a few moments ago, Taylor Hallquist letting one go off the end line, which enabled the goal kick for Columbia River. More physical play on that far side once again. And it will be, let's see here. Looks like Mount Spokane will retain.
Yep, pressure on that right-hand side. You can see Kawawaki on the top, very much looking like her in the right corner. Good job by Taylor Hallquist. And we've seen her get a hold of those balls. When she launches them, they're good. But when it's a swing and a miss, it looks a bit awkward, doesn't it?
Hallquist was vying for it there, but the Wildcats able to switch things around.
Now Reynolds is on the near touch line. In the middle of the top of the Chieftains attack is Kawawaki. So again, switching positions as need be, mixing things up, making it more difficult for the Wildcats defense. But really right now it's the Chieftains mostly on defending.
Columbia River's Julia Drury battling with Alyssa Lloyd there on that far sideline, and it was won by Mount Spokane.
And Maddie Reynolds makes her way back in to be part of the wall on this free kick opportunity.
And a free kick up in the air into the box, chipped a bit by the Chieftains, out of play. Corner kick coming.
Emily Heaton with a lap defending. It kind of nothing she could get a foot on and feel comfortable about. You don't want an own goal, but she shepherds it out off of her lap. And that's that pressure working for the Wildcats as they earn this corner kick.
Senior Sydney Nelson will take the honors on that far corner. And you can see the box littered with purple as the defenders pack it in. And the Wildcats awaiting this corner. Headers abound, and it's corralled briefly.
And Adello gets a hold of that one, Alex, and just nods it out strongly.
Trying to retain in the offensive end. Here's a little spin, trying to find some space. Chieftains win it back. momentarily. Berger with the header. Outlet to the near side, a race for it there, and it's kicked out of bounds by Kawawaki. It'll be Mount Spokane ball.
Nice effort there by Whitney Weaver. She was really in an awkward position. She played the ball wide to play it safe and got it to nick off of Kawawaki's pressure and get the throw in. Keep possession. That's important for Spokane now.
Dallas Flagger with that throwing, but here's the Chieftain counterattack. Flagger back with it deep. Lost the handle. It's going to go back to Columbia River. A little unforced error there.
So again, the offense, not scoring position, but when you have a chance to force an error like that, you give your team pressure, release. And now they can move up, set up their attack, and take a breath as they've been under pressure here for a few minutes stretch.
Katie Crabb
will get a break. Sorry.
Yep, Katie Crabb will check in as Berger takes the rest here.
She is an active player, so that's good to have her have a chance to catch her breath, maybe see the game from a different perspective. And she'll be back in, believe me.
Yep, about 10 minutes gone here, so about 30 minutes left to go. Columbia River holding on to that margin, trying to add to it right here with the throw-in coming up. Maddie Reynolds chucking this one in. Mount Spokane clearing it nicely. Out to midfield where they don't have numbers. River, a little backwards pass there to try and set things up between the wickets of Kawawaki that time, and the Wildcats challenging near sideline, and River knocks it out of bounds.
And notice Richardson, she's not going to back off at all. That could not only be a foul potentially, but also a card. But the referee allowing that she might have been protecting herself instead of actually playing the player.
We've actually seen through now for this now 3.5 3A championship level games, no cards yet. So both teams here, as well as the two in the consolation, playing well, and there was a shot by Mount Spokane well off the mark.
Really a disappointing effort by Annie Scheller to get it across, maybe just needing to get her left foot around more, her hips around more so she can get it crossed up into the box. She had good numbers and good depth to those numbers. A couple of forwards running into 6 and just crossing the 18, backing up the midfielders. So an excellent opportunity not taken advantage of by the Wildcats.
Schellerud there, dumping it into the middle. Nice pass to the near side. This is Whitney Weaver. Checked. Had it poked away. Mount Spokane getting it back briefly. Emily Heaton battling with Weaver on that near side, and it's won by Heaton.
You talk about no cards, and really credit all 4 teams so far in these 3.5 games that we've watched. They've come to play hard. They've come with a real focus, and they've actually absorbed some pretty tough contact, but nothing untoward has happened. They've really shown great composure and maturity, and that is a part of the lessons in a sport like this or any of the sports that are participants in the WIAA.
Both teams here playing in the semifinals yesterday. The teams that lost taking on one another earlier today, Holy Names and Liberty, and it was the Cougars of Holy Names coming away with a 1-0 win as they capture 3rd place in state. Liberty takes home the 4th place trophy. But the big hardware on the line here in this one with 27.5 minutes to play, and Columbia River with the advantage. Kawawaki with the header, but it's cleared away by the Wildcats one more time. Kawawaki might pick up this loose ball, had it knocked away nicely by Flagger. Now up the other way, nearly a hand on the ball there. No call. The Chieftains, who have allowed just 6 goals this season, including 1 in this game. You can see why they work that defense oh so nicely.
Well, the defense of both teams is quite good, and the Chieftains having a bit of a hard time stringing together some passes. And under the challenges, there's a sense that just getting your foot on it is going to be the reward. But you want to try to see if you can coordinate something and work instead of just knocking it down.
There was an attempt there at a little give and go, but the Chieftains intercepting here in the middle. That's Lloyd with a boot up ahead. Now a race for it in the corner. One momentarily, it's out of bounds. Chieftains get the advantage. So good hustle by that back line of Columbia River.
At the highest level, usually around the 70th minute is when things begin to crank up. Here we are with 26 minutes to go, so in about 5 minutes, the 60th minute, as usually as referees, you know, the game's going to pick up and it's going to be highly intense. The crowd is urging both the teams on, trying to get something going for each of them. Mount Spokane trying to get a goal, get back in this with an even up, and for the Chieftans trying to stretch out their one-goal advantage.
Danica Martin sending that one near the goal, but Case an easy job to scoop that one up and send it back out towards midfield. Pedersen trying to work that one up for Mount Spokane. And this one gets loose in Wildcat territory. Quick inbound coming here from Kawawaki, I believe. Nope, she'll hand it off. Give the honors to Maddie Reynolds. And a substitution as Berger and Lilly return. And it looks like it will be Hallquist with the throw in here. Touched by Reynolds in the midst. Trying to get control of it. Drury, shot on goal, but in great placing. Shannon McReynolds there for the stop.
That's an easy and comfortable save for McReynolds, but it's not a bad idea. If you get a bit more of challenge on the keeper with that ball, or better yet, pull it back just a bit, you've got a couple of purple shirts that can run in on there and make something of it.
Trying to run this one down. That's Weaver with a good right foot on it, but it caromed away. Columbia River will get it back. Talking with head coach Ryan Campanella of the Wildcats before this game, he was not expecting this run. They know that they've put together some fantastic years before, but they've come up short. They've put in this whole new offense this year, and he sensed by about the third practice there was something very special and unique about this team, and it was because of this senior class. The 6 leaders out there headed by Alyssa Lloyd that just wasn't like some of the other squads that he had, and they've come this way 20-0 in this championship game and still need to dig deep to try and find a way to equalize. But right now it's the Chieftans on the attack. Lindsay Hurley challenged by Flagger. Kawawaki now with it. Centering. It'll shuffle outside, but Mount Spokane able to stem the tide for the moment.
Dallas Flagger, quite the rock back there. It was a one-on-one opportunity, 2 jersey number 2s. You can call it 2-on-2 if you want, but Dallas Flagger's come up big here in the corner a couple of times.
Bezdacek on the near side for Mount Spokane. Battle for it there, won by Weaver. Now is Sarah Case moving it up ahead for Columbia River.
Sarah Case in that central defense really not only running the defense, but really good when she has some time like she had there to start the attack. But the Chieftans needs the next and the next pass just to set up space on the other end of the field where they can maybe get their offense going. Delgadillo
trying to work it up, but Kawawaki could not handle it, and so Mount Spokane will get it with a throw-in coming up in just a moment. As we approach the midway mark of this half, another substitution. And this might be a big one here for Mount Spokane. Bezdacek will come on out, and sophomore Madison Boyd will come in and try to fan the flames of this offensive attack here. A goal in the game yesterday in the semifinal, and a goal in the game in the quarterfinals against Kamiakin.
And back in comes Berger, Charlene getting a bit of a breather, and Katie Crabb goes off for her.
Look inside for Boyd. This one shepherded out briefly. Now it's cleared. Back out towards midfield. Sydney Nelson challenging for it. Now out at midfield. Mount Spokane funneling it in. Kawawaki booting it out. Now challenging on that side. That's Hurley. Make it Hallquist. But it's won by Mount Spokane on that far sideline. Throw in coming quickly as they don't look to waste much time. Good contact on that far side as Schellerud falls to the turf. No call there.
A good indication of the aggressive nature and the physical nature of this. It's a very direct game. Very few times do we see passes back to set things up. Everything is forward, both teams.
Kira Callum coming in for Easton Kawawaki.
Kawawaki, a very hard worker. She's going to need a breather, so this is a smart move.
Both teams utilizing their bench here near the midway mark. Little breakaway opportunity, perhaps, but it's cleared by Flagger.
Both teams played yesterday 2 tough, intense games on a Friday and a Saturday, back-to-back. And so it's going to be about conserving your tank, just like in the raceways. You want to make sure you finish with gas in the tank and rubber on the tires and all the things, the right tools available to you to pull out a win, defend the lead, whatever. And it also includes in the back of your mind the possibility with a half of a half left. A lot of things could happen. There is also possibilities overtime and shootouts, if we've seen.
It's only a 1-goal affair, so 1 breakaway here, 1 miss hit. You never know what could happen, but Columbia River trying to broaden that lead. Mount Spokane, this is Boyd down the right wing, looking to center it. Lost the handle, a big collision, and the ball out of bounds will still be held by the Wildcats.
Nice cutback against the defense of Anna Delgadillo, who's one of those stalwarts in the middle. And she made that move, and at certain levels you might have seen someone take a dive. Nothing about that here. These girls are playing soccer, playing for the goal.
Boyd with a nose for the ball, almost had it, but the defense steps in. Callum trying to clear it, couldn't. This is Weaver trying to weave through traffic. Shot from distance, up, off the post. Oh my goodness. Finally cleared out, back a bit. Not completely, but here comes Columbia River back the other way.
What a rip by that quiet but persistent and productive midfielder, Danica Martin, unleashing a great shot with a dip and very nearly beat Haley Case except for that crossbar.
Wow, we were that close, inches away from being even at 2 apiece. Here's a challenge on the left side. Schellerud couldn't keep it between the yellow lines.
Well, I hope you're drinking your water and conserving your resources, Alex, because this one could go to all the way to the end. You're going to need every call in your tool bag there. So you ready?
I'm up for it if you are.
I'm up
19 minutes to go, perhaps a little bit extra, but we haven't had much in the way of injury time / extra time in this one, thankfully. Here's the throw in as the Chieftains will control. And, of course, after this one, the 4A state championship between Issaquah and Skyline.
Thankfully, we're playing on field turf. If we were on old grass, you'd have muddy jerseys, grass stains, eyebrows with grass and what have you on there. It's been that kind of a knockdown, drag out. And I'll say fight in the sense of the sporting term of it. Obviously, very cleanly played, toughly played, smartly played, aggressive, skill, and a good team concept of both defense as well as offense.
My favorite coaching word on that is intensity.
There you go.
It's been an intense run so far as we've played an hour. Free kick on the way. This one's going to be challenged. Headed out of bounds, I believe a corner coming.
And on the end of that, Danica Martin again. But look at the battle between number 14 in purple and number 14 in white, shoulder to shoulder, cutting in behind. Alyssa Lloyd ready to pounce, and Sarah Case saying, I'm going to keep the ball away from my sister in goal.
Couple of wily seniors in the mix. Here comes another Mount Spokane corner, looking for the header back post. Doesn't get it, but it's maintained for the moment. Wildcats centering pass. Almost a big play by Madison Boyd. They'll keep it back in. Shot from range, and this one is all Haley Case's.
Oh, good job again by Sarah Case going forward, hanging back. Anna Delgadillo almost putting the 2 attackers onside. And that could be dangerous. Riley Richardson, watch out for her. And, of course, Madison Boyd, we've already introduced her to you. You have to keep an eye on her as well.
Yeah.
Both of them free in the middle and kept onside by number 10, Anna Delgadillo.
I was wondering if Boyd was almost going to go bicycle there with their back towards the net. But the defense was there as Columbia River, that has been their calling card all season. They've allowed just 6 goals, 2 of them coming in the semifinal and here in the final this year, and 2 of them on place kicks, so you know they're stalwarts on defense.
Ooh. I'd say disciplined referee. There was 1 fall, no foul to call, and the referee just lets it go on. A dangerous move, kind of a risky move for the Mount Spokane defense. Leaving a leg out, Kawawaki goes to surface and no foul called. That would have been a penalty kick had she seen it that way, or had it been a more egregious move.
I was going to say, to bring in hockey vernacular, a line change here nearly for Columbia River as they freely substitute here at the high school level, and they bring in 3 players, Mount Spokane bringing in 1. as both teams wanting some fresher legs on the field here as we battle in the final 16 minutes of this one. There's a collision right there. And did we get a whistle? No, they play on.
Katie Crabb picking herself up. Coach Campanella, that line change is an excellent call. His team has really applied pressure there, and they begin to flag a little bit of energy, so throw another 3-4 players, and that can maybe just jumpstart some of that energy and keep the Wildcats going in the right direction.
Heaton looking for Kawawaki on the near side. Had it go out of bounds off of Mount Spokane, so that'll give the opportunity to Lindsay Hurley to toss this one in. Good name for someone throwing the ball in, that's for sure. This one deflected back out, but caromed back in by the Chieftains. Here is Shellerud for Mount Spokane.
Nice
Weaving
hustle.
past defenders. A nice pass towards the middle. Looking for space, trying to lead Carly Frank, but it's intercepted. Here's Flagger booting it out of play and allowing the defense to come back.
Klyer doing a good job hustling back in the purple shirt to take a position to slow down the counterattack. And it worked as the defense held strong, and now it's the Chieftains with possession.
Hurley again ready for the toss in, but will we get a sub? No, we won't, but Columbia River wants to make another one here at the next opportunity. Tough battle on the near side. Who did it touch last? They say it went off of River. I have to agree. The player in white was on the inside of the yellow line, the player in purple on the outside of the line.
I love the spirit of Charlene Berger. She is not, by any stretch of the imagination, the biggest, stoutest player out there. Kind of a will-o'-the-wisp, but she is such a fighter and so competitive.
Big run by Maddie Reynolds as that one was mishandled a bit by the defense. Reynolds almost getting in there for a point-blank shot, but finally coming over from the other side defensively. The Wildcats able to clear it out, but a corner, I believe, on its way.
And really that sort of mettle is what we expect to see in each of these players. They may display it in different ways, they may show up in different ways, but they're all playing with that desire to win and that willingness to just throw it all out on the line. Just an exciting game today. Glad to be with you, Alex, and glad to have our viewers with us as well.
Look for Maddie Reynolds in the middle off of the corner kick. That's her actually with the corner kick. Little shove in the back in the box there as Mount Spokane looking to get it cleared out. Keep an eye on Reynolds. She's far post at this point, unchecked. And it's out of play. Will it be a corner? Yes, it will. So the Chieftains keeping the pressure on. They've got 13 and a half minutes separating them from a state title. It would be their first since 2009.
6 in the box again, but they're all inside the goal area.
Anything can happen here. Looking for a header. It's booted out. Now the counterattack for Mount Spokane. Trying to get it up ahead. It's Madison Boyd battling at the mid-pitch stripe. Gets past the defense for the moment. Now booting it ahead, but right into the Chieftains' defensive backfield, who was well positioned to clean that up.
Going back to that corner kick, they're all 6 in the box. There is nobody backing them up, so Boyd has the run of 60 yards down the field to set up the Wildcats' opportunity here.
Quick inbound pass to Flagger. She'll center this one. Looking out in front of the box for the big players, Lloyd and Boyd. And this one chipped back in by Flagger again. Headed out by Degadillo. Now up ahead. Controlled once again. Flagger getting it just outside of the box. Little mishit by Berger. Maintained by the Wildcats. They lost it for a second. Now the back line starting to creep up a little bit. Over on the left wing. This is Riley Richardson.
And here we are, 8 minutes into that 10 minutes from the 60th to the 70th. And slowly but surely, each team cranking it up, and the other team responding and cranking it up. And now the players extending themselves, overextending themselves in some cases, trying to get a result.
In the 67th minute of 80. Here's a header towards the goal, off the mark, but dangerous. Almost an equalizer.
Number 8, Danica Martin, in the right place at the right time. Let's salute some others, too. You know they're trying to get the ball to Alyssa Lloyd, and she's working hard for it up top. And time again, it's number 14, Sarah Case. Sometimes she's bodied up by Lloyd, and she just is so cool back there, getting her head on it. And a lot of others helping out, too. Number 15, Emily Heaton, coming up with some good defensive duty as well.
Berger checks out for the Chieftains as Geneva Perez comes in and sees some action here, a senior midfielder, spelling that talented midfield. Up a header, nice entry into the mix. That's Boyd, dangerous there, nearly taken down. gets it back, tries the chippy back inside. That was Landers trying to feed Boyd, but Boyd running past it. Landers still battling near side with two Chieftains. Working it back, Flagger pushing it ahead, but picked off. Hurley booting it up front, controlled by the back line of Mount Spokane.
Again, absorbing all that pressure in the middle for the defense for the Chieftains is number 14, Sarah Case. Not once, but several times making key plays. Here, just clearing it out of play.
Alyssa Lloyd battling with Sarah Case as they have throughout this contest. That has been a showdown there amongst a couple of quality seniors.
Now the Chieftains are struggling, stringing together passes again. They're just clearing under pressure. That kind of panic and desperation with 11 minutes to go could wear on them. They have to be cautious, try to string some things together to help them build possession at the least.
10.5 to go in this state championship game at the 3A level.
And that's a bit uncharacteristic. We saw the Chieftains early very calm and very relaxed, pressing but also finding feet and doing a good job. Now there's a sense that they're just a little bit desperate, holding on to that 1-goal lead.
Columbia River. A couple of their seniors were here in this very stadium back in 2009. They were freshmen and they were watching the seniors secure a state title. They were in the stands watching that one. Now they're on the field and they can taste victory just less than 10 minutes away with this 2-1 advantage over the undefeated Wildcats of Mount Spokane. Shot towards the goal, off the mark from distance, and you talk about a little bit of frustration. They got to get these shots when they have them. She was unmarked. Had a clear look at it, but a little bit off the mark.
We saw the success of the Wildcats last night came on mixing up their attack. So not a bad idea, but you're going to have to press a little bit harder. And Haley Case smartly just eyeing it and then leaning on the post, watching it go long and maybe burning up a few extra minutes and allowing her team to compose themselves.
More contact. Kawawaki had it for a second, nearly an arm ball here. Maddie Reynolds battling for it for the Chieftains. Now it's going to be run down back deep by the Wildcats' Ashley Pedersen. She'll pick it up on that far sideline, lose the handle. Another unforced error right there. And that'll give not only Chieftains possession deep in Wildcat territory, but it'll burn some more time off the clock, and Mount Spokane can use every precious second right now.
Good time to salute the third team in the field, Katie Fadden and her crew, doing a great job out there in refereeing this game, I believe.
Out in front, Kawawaki thinking about it, trying to get control back. Race to the near sideline. Kawawaki winning it immediately. Challenged there by Danica Martin. And a foul whistled. They call it on Kawawaki.
I do not understand that, but that's okay. They've done a good job. She saw something, and she made her definitive whistle.
Kawawaki trying to center it to Reynolds, and this one out of play. It'll still be, nope, it'll be Mount Spokane ball here.
Huh.
Thought that was going to go the other way. Actually, no, it is River that will hold on to it here.
These players have been going at it. Oh, they're going to change their mind again.
Yep. So here's the quick inbound with 7:50. Wait a second here. I think they're calling a foul. And instead of the throw-in, it will be a free kick. So that was the confusion there. That time, though, burnt off the clock, favoring the Chieftains, however. Well, 7:42 to go.
These two teams are going at each other, and there is some physical contact and, on the whole, consistent ways of interpreting it on the field. And a choppy game sometimes can be really difficult to referee because moment to moment there's different things happening. Choppy game is also tough to grab a hold of as a team. You want possession, but you want your style of play offensively as well as defensively.
Junior defender Katie Crabb in for midfielder Julia Drury, so maybe going into pack-it-in mode a little bit here with 7:08 separating the Chieftains from another state title. Foul whistled against the Chieftain attack, so Mount Spokane will have it, and you can tell Mount Spokane with a great sense of urgency right now.
I love Lindsay Hurley, the way she just kind of calmly grabs the ball and tells Madison Boyd, who's urgently trying to get the ball, just chill, just cool, we're good, we're good. Body language. We're interpreting body language there, subtext.
Indeed, and this one goes out of play, and unfortunately for Mount Spokane, they turn it back over to Columbia River.
And that's part of the frustration, too. Mount Spokane needs possession of the ball, or at least a good look at it. And every time you have a wayward pass or miscommunication or good defense, it frustrates you just that bit more. And you need to compose yourselves and keep focused. There's plenty of time to score a goal. And the same thing for the Chieftains. Don't overreact. If you've got the time, communicate with each other. Like job by Lindsay Hurley earlier to control the ball at her feet, take a look up and find a target. Sometimes you're going to have to clear it strongly, but other times you're going to have to try to settle the ball down and get it downfield to your teammates.
Under 6 minutes to go, and Mount Spokane will have at least another few opportunities. This will be one of them right here, the inbound coming up. Little indecisiveness. There's the throw in there into the box. A lot of purple jerseys packing it in there. Hard to find any kind of space. This one off the end line, and a corner kick is coming.
Sometimes Frank with that long throw-in looks a bit like Andrew Luck curling the ball downfield for the Colts. And they're loading the box.
Corner kick on its way. Headed up in the air. Challenged. Another header. Shot on the way through the uprights. Too long and too strong. That was Riley Richardson trying to get a good leg on it.
Notice the depth on that corner kick. They had players in the box challenging the keeper, marked up, but they also had players arrayed around the box at the next level, which gave them more than one look at the goal there.
5 minutes to go now. Mount Spokane, another opportunity here. Challenged, prying it free, shot towards the goal, headed out. Bunch of purple shirts around it. Kawawaki losing the handle. This one back into the Chieftains' defense. They work it left wing. One-timer on the way through the defense, but past the goal a little bit wide.
J.D. Nielsen having to go from distance. Madison Boyd let go of that left footer, headed away just in front of the keeper. So you've got a couple of opportunities, all of them rushed as Drury steps on.
Drury replacing Emily Klyer, who will step out. Those substitutions burning some more time off the clock in favor of Columbia River.
Just taking a pause to reflect that around the track right now, the two teams from 4A who will play in the championship game begin to warm up. And 20 minutes after the end of this game, we expect the kickoff on the big match between last year's Chance Skyline against their Kinko 4A rivals, Issaquah. Should be a bar burner. We'll have Bill Hansen on hand. And yours truly calling the action. That should be a lot of fun to go along with this 3A final.
You bet. A lot of the top soccer played right here at Sparks Stadium here in Puyallup over the last little more than 24 hours. They get a bunch of semifinals in, some consolation matchups, and these two state championship showdowns. And this one right now in favor of Columbia River. Shot towards the goal. Another great defensive effort, but a corner kick will be coming up one more time.
Sarah Case, number 14. The different things she's reached down and pulled up. Just an outstanding performance tonight. And for Mount Spokane, the Wildcats pouring on the pressure. Something has got to give here.
Sydney Nelson with this corner kick. Just about 3 minutes to go. Line drive into the box, headed out. And who was it last touched by? They will say it was last touched by Columbia River. So another corner kick coming up, this time from the other side.
Taylor Hallquist at the near post, getting there first before Katie Nielsen get her noggin on it. And she gives up the corner, but a good aggressive defensive play.
Nelson will take this corner kick as well from the opposite side. Into the box. Challenged again. Nelson will get it back, centering it. Header on the way. Karam there, and all over it is Haley Case. Big save right there as that ball pinballing around.
Either goalkeeper, how often have we seen them come off their line? And Haley Case was 12 yards off her line, scrambling back to be in position to pick up that weak shot that would have gone in without her being there.
Mount Spokane has not given up in this one despite the clock working against them. Approaching the 2-minute remaining mark. Challenge in the middle, that was Lloyd.
And the answer to that rhetorical question is not very often. We haven't had the keepers off the line much at all, and that's due to the direct and aggressive nature of this game.
Pedersen challenged on that far sideline. It rolls off the end line for another corner kick.
Well, how many have they had? They only had one in the first half, and now 5 or 6 here in the late going, and the Chieftains just being pummeled by the Wildcats' pressure.
Of course, it worked some precious time off the clock as well, although this strategic play coming up. Nelson putting a right-footed boot into this one, high into the air. Challenged at the net, just wide to the left.
Alyssa Lloyd got her head to it just wide. Hallquist at the post just in case. They had 9 players committed to the attack and ready to get up there is Shannon McReynolds as they approach the 70-second mark.
Tell you what, there's not a tremendous amount of urgency for this kick coming up. A substitution made once again for Columbia River. This one put in play with 67 seconds left. Mount Spokane, do they have one more charge left in them? Possibly right here, but it's deflected away. One more time. This one headed towards the corner. Scooped out for the moment, then corralled up ahead. Retained. This is Martin battling with 48 seconds to go. One-timer on the way. This one popped up high and in the box. Bounding in there, shoved down by Richardson.
And how
Any
about
call,
that?
There's the foul call with 36 seconds to go.
Perfectly played, if risky by number 14, Sarah Case. This time drawing the foul while shooting the ball and going to ground. Maybe easier, shall I say, than she has in the past.
25 seconds and counting down. Maybe one more shot for Mount Spokane. Stumbling, bumbling there in the middle. Case will scoop it up with 17 seconds to go. A foul called here. Mount Spokane will have it. 12 seconds to go. They need to get it placed. They need to get it shot. 8 seconds to go. Can't wait for this wall to be set up. 3 seconds to go. Shot needs to be made. This one chipped up into the area, headed, and that will do it. Columbia River with the state championship. 2-1 over Mount Spokane. There can only be one undefeated team left, and it will be the Chieftans. They improved to 19-0-2, and more importantly, they reclaim the state championship.
You asked if it could be done. 43 minutes of defending by the Chieftans to deny a second goal in the game from the Wildcats. They hold on. They get the win. What a performance.
Well, I'll tell you what, either way this one would have gone would have been a heck of a story for both these teams. Mount Spokane coming in undefeated, unblemished in their mark, 20-0 with some tremendous talent, including Alyssa Lloyd that will head off to play D1 soccer next year. They come into this one outscoring their opposition in the semifinals and quarterfinals 6-0. They get a goal from Alyssa Lloyd, an equalizer, but it was Columbia River getting that all-important goal in the 37th minute from Emily Heaton to unknot the tie. That was the difference in the game, and that is the difference in a state championship. The Columbia River Chieftans, though, the story through this playoffs is remarkable.
Absolutely. My players of the game, number 8, Danica Martin, in the middle, helping out her team defensively, offensively, all over the field, but cool as a cucumber. And how about the center defender, the sister of the goalkeeper, Sarah Case? I think down the stretch, she just got stronger and stronger and delivered an outstanding performance.
We're awaiting the trophy presentation here, and you can see the happy gals in purple celebrating this championship. They last won it back in 2009. We mentioned it before. Kira Callum, Sarah Case among the seniors that were in these very stands back in 2009, watching Columbia River win the state championship. And here they cap their careers with a state championship. They do it in tremendous fashion, allowing only 6 goals this year, 1 today, 1 yesterday, 2 on penalty kicks. Unbelievable run defensively for Columbia River.
Both teams have so many great things to salute. Right now, there's one side just crying in their cups, as they should, disappointed, and another celebrating and feeling elated. But 2 outstanding efforts throughout the season and through these playoffs. Just an exciting game. It went down to the wire, didn't it?
Mount Spokane down there posing with their state runner-up trophy down there, and you can see the celebration for the Chieftans. As they get their photo taken in celebration, they knock off the defending champion Seattle Prep in the opening round. They knock off top-seeded and undefeated Meadowdale in the quarterfinals. They avenge a loss to Liberty in the first round of last year. They go to dramatic fashion, winning it in a shootout yesterday, and they knock off the undefeated second-ranked Mount Spokane Wildcats, who came in 20-0. They do it 2-1, and you see the trophy presentation there as the Columbia River Chieftans once again state champions at the 3A level here in Washington.
Why is it the winning team always looks a little more disorganized, as the celebrations are so hard to contain?
That is the presentation, the photo being taken, and then you're going to see a big explosion once again when they say you're clear, and you can start to celebrate one more time. The Chieftans crowned champions once again here in the state of Washington. Want to give thanks to our production crew, Dave Leeming on camera, and Brett Webb, our producer. The final score in this one, Columbia River 2, Mount Spokane 1. That's all for now from Spark Stadium in Puyallup. You've been watching the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships on the WIAA Network. For my partner, Tom Smith, I'm Alex Webster signing off. Thanks again for joining us. If you want to continue the fun, enjoy the 4A State Championship coming up on the WIAA Network next. So long, everybody.